I remember that it was one of my childhood birthdays, and I had been really excited about it for weeks. And my mom, who was always really busy, juggling different jobs and house stuff and running the kids around, promised me that she would bake a cake by herself. And I remember that she was really determined, and she smiled and said, "This one is going to be really special." We didn't have a lot of money, and so we couldn't afford one at the store. And that day I came home from the school to see my mom in the kitchen. She had her sleeves rolled up and her hair back, and she was surrounded by flour and sugar and frosting and smudges, and she looked really tired, but she smiled wide when she saw me, and she said, "It's almost ready." And I got really excited. And then when the cake was finally brought out after dinner, which I probably didn't eat much of, I could barely contain my excitement until I saw it. The cake, it was leaning so far to one side that I thought it might fall over. The frosting was uneven. The patches where the crumbs showed through were just splotchy, and the candles kind of looked like they had been thrown in at random. It really wasn't like the perfect cakes that I had seen at my friends' parties. And I kind of glanced at my mom, and her eyes searched my face nervously, and I could tell that she had tried her best, but I really couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed. But before I could say anything, my dad laughed his really deep belly laugh, threw his hands in the air, and said, "Now that is a masterpiece of a cake. I bet it tastes even better than it looks." And I watched as he cut this huge, messy slice that was falling all over, and he took a bite and he said, "That's delicious," as loud as he could. And I kind of looked and glanced over at my mom and saw her shoulders relax, and she smiled. And I took a slice too and passed it around the table, and we all had our slice. I mean, it was really soft and sweet, and it tasted like love sprinkled with kindness and effort. And later that night, I asked my dad, "Did you really think that the cake was really good?" And he chuckled, ruffled my hair, and said, "You know, it really wasn't about the cake, son. Your mom spent hours on that cake because she loves you." And sometimes we get caught up in how things look and forget to see what the meaning is behind it. Cake was made with more love than anything that I had ever really received, and anything that you could buy at the store. And I nodded and let his words sink in. And looking back, I still remember that crooked little cake. And it's really one of my favorite birthday memories, one of my only birthday memories. And it taught me something really important. It's that perfection doesn't matter when there's love behind what someone does for you. So now, whenever somebody does something or puts in effort for me, whether they're late, but one of my annoyances, whether it's a slightly burned meal or a lopsided gift, I focus on what it really means. Because kindness is about seeing the heart behind the effort and not the flaws in the result. And maybe, just maybe, the world would be a little kinder if we all learned to appreciate the lopsided cakes in our lives.